You're listening to Following On with me, Neil Manthorp, alongside Double Ashes winner Steve Harmison. And a reminder that you can now watch us on the YouTube channel. Just head over to the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel and subscribe. Now then, we're joined live, as promised at the top of the show, by former Zimbabwean fast bowler Ed Rainsford. The fastest bowler, actually, that Zimbabwe has ever produced, in my experience. And I've watched a lot of Zimbabwean cricket. Played 39 ODIs and 220 internationals for Zimbabwe, but took 242 wickets at 20 in 72 first-class games. And I just go through that, Ed, because everyone knows you as a commentator now. I do like to remind people that you could play a bit when you were fit. Ed, let's talk about the Test team rather than you. What a win! What a win that was! Brilliant, brilliant stuff.
Firstly, hi, Manners. How are you? Hi, Stephen. How are you? What an introduction.
How are you, Ed?
All I can say is that it really went fast and then it went really slow at the end of my career. So thank you for those kind words, Manners.
Well, talk about the current Test team then, and blessing Muzarabani.
Yeah, the Zim side has gone through a great deal of transition, and it's actually taken a while to get this group of players together. But if you want to focus on Blessing Muzarabani for now, I think he is world class. I think he walked away from Zim cricket for a brief period to go and play a little bit of county cricket, which I think did him a world of good. I think there was some hardening there. I think there was an opportunity for him to also bring about a different element to his skill in terms of his body and how he manages it. And then when he came back into the national side, it's just, he hasn't looked back. I mean, he's gone from PSL contracts, he's gone to the CPL, he's got IPL gigs. From what I understand, I think a little bird may have told me that he could have gone to the IPL, but decided to go to Bangladesh first and play in this Test series. And he's just got to 50 Test wickets in just 11 games. I think he equals Heath's streak, and I think he's a world-class bowler.
And how's the preparation going? It's a great victory, but preparation going for England, different type of test, probably different types of squads as well when it comes to the makeup of bowling attacks and things like that. So, whereas Zimbabwe, when it comes to heading over to the UK,
I think playing Test cricket for them, essentially the first part is the preparation that they need, especially going to Bangladesh. Sylhet is a different sort of venue where the ball was seaming around and bouncing a lot from what I watched. But coming to England, like you say, it's a totally different kettle of fish in terms of they've never actually played. A lot of them haven't actually played at any of the Test venues. They haven't played against an England side in a Test venue. So the pressure is going to be extremely, extremely high. I think the preparation when they come home is a very quick turnaround. I think they're at home for probably 5 or 6 nights. And then they're into the UK, and then they've got a practice game, I think, at Leicester. So that is where they'll probably sort of get their feet under the desk in terms of playing in England. So it's going to be a quick turnaround from going to the subcontinent to coming home to then going to England. So preparation is going to be a slightly shaky, but the fact that they're playing Test cricket and it's a quick turnaround and having a practice game, I think will help them a great degree.
2 questions here, 2 topics, Ed. You can take your pick or you can answer both. Tell us a bit more about Ben Curran. A lot of England followers will know the name, but he suffered a bit from middle child syndrome, didn't he, between Tom and Sam? But he's found his feet now. He's opening the top of the order. Tell us a bit more about Ben, and then I'm going to ask you about Brendan Taylor's possible comeback.
All right, then, Manners. I'll go with the first question first. Ben Curran, yes, middle child to Kevin Curran, obviously Tom and then Sam. He struggled a little bit. He had a slight condition where he couldn't actually walk properly. He was mainly used to walk on the toes of his feet, and sort of didn't make a lot of teams. And I think he had a surgery to correct that, and then went to St. George's College, and then came across to England when the late Kevin Curran passed on. So he's had to do it the hard way, and played a bit of county cricket, and from what I understand, didn't quite crack it there as much as he would have wanted to, as his brothers did, and then came back to Zimbabwe and sort of put his hand up and said, you know what, I'm going to come home and I'm going to play first-class cricket, and I'm going to try and rack up the numbers, which he did, and then finally got his opportunity to make his Test debut. I think it was against Afghanistan at the beginning of the year, and he looks like an opener that Zimbabwe have been looking for a very long time. The biggest part for me about Ben Curran is that he's got a big heart. I think he really wants to succeed. He really wants to also be one of the Currans, if I could say that. I think he wants to get to a Test 100. I think he wants to really do well, and he wants to do it his way, I think, and that's how he's done it. I think I was listening to a podcast a couple of weeks ago where he actually started sending his brothers a bit of banter to say he was the first Curran to get 100 in international cricket. So that in itself tells you that he's already sort of throwing the jabs out at his brothers. And I think his late father will be very proud.
Okay, Ed, you got to answer the question about Brendan Taylor. Now, he was, he was banned from the game for a number of ICC anti-corruption infringements, colluded with bookmakers. He had a drugs problem, all of which he has been completely open about. And now, at the age of 39, pushing 40, there's talk about him making a comeback to the Zimbabwean team. Not of his volition; it was actually a suggestion from the Zimbabwe cricket chief executive, wasn't it?
I thought Homie was going to come there and just give me a bit of a breather before we dived into this one. But yeah, all you've said is 100% correct. He's gone through a number of challenges. Obviously, the anti-corruption issues and obviously the drug issues. From the time that I've Brendan Taylor here in Zimbabwe, bumping into him, he's lost a great deal of weight. He's turned his lifestyle around dramatically. I have heard those murmurs about him wanting to make a comeback once his ban is done in July, I think it is. I'll be 100% honest with you, Manners. I don't actually know categorically where the Zimbabwe cricket have put out a statement to say that they're opening the door for him to come back, or they're closing the door for him to come back. I think they're perhaps waiting for the ban to come to an end. But from what I'm seeing, because my son has cricket lessons at one of the cricket places here in Harare, he's there every day. He's training hard. He's lost. If you see him, Manners, I mean, you've seen BT, you've seen Brendan Taylor over the years. He's lost a great deal of weight, and he's hitting a lot of balls, and he's trying to stay as fit as possible. And I think, speaking to him, I think he also just wants to maybe right a few wrongs. You're right, he's 39. Where would he play? Would he play more T20 cricket? Is it helping the youngsters from a transitional perspective? He's also looking at the likes of Craig Irvin, Sean Williams, who are also approaching 40. Raza's approaching 40, and he's saying to himself, well, if they can do it, surely if the door is open, then I'll come back and I'll also do it and sort of end my career slightly on a high than rather ending it on what has been quite a little bit of a dark sort of passage of his career and his lifestyle.
Ed, the bowling attack is excellent for Zimbabwe. Is the question whether they can score enough runs? I mean, they've got a very good spinner in Wellington Masakadza. You've spoken about Blessing, Richard Ngarava, Victor Nyachi. I mean, it's a good bowling attack. I reckon they're good for 20 wickets. But are they over reliant on Sean Williams and Craig Irvin?
Yeah, I was just looking for a stat I saw the other day. I think Sean Williams now is the longest serving cricket career in cricket history.
And the longest international career of any current player. Yeah.
All right, there we go. 20 years plus, and he keeps doing it. So I think he holds the key to, and along with Craig Irvin through that middle order, because if you look at Sean Williams' record in itself, it's a very good one. And I think Sean Williams, once he's done, he'll actually look back at that and think he could have done a lot better because he has a very good international record. So he'll hold the key here in England. I think a good opening stand, but the England bowlers are really going to test them out. You are so right, Manners, in that their bowling attack is very good. I mean, you look at Masakesa, the leg spinner that's come in this test match in Chattogram. He's turning it square. Yes, the wicket's assisting him, but he sort of has just slotted in there. and he's just looked like he's been playing Test cricket for a long time. Yes, granted, the wicket is assisting him, but what you see from the optics looks like someone who's hungry and ready to perform. So yes, the bowling, yes, looks stronger more than on the batting side of things, but I think if that top six can come together nicely, I think Wesley Madeva is also coming through in terms of getting to that maturity in terms of where he is as a batter. If they can sort of click, I think they can sort of resist that bowling attack. But my goodness, Gus Atkinson, you look at if Tongue plays, and you know, man, as I scratch my head and I think to myself, what sort of side is England going to put out? Are they going to be managing their summer because they've got a real tough Test series against India? What sort of bowling in 11 are they going to put out? Are they going to come out of the blocks early and put out their best Test 11? That's also something that's going to be interesting to see. It's a 4-day test as well, so it'll be interesting to see the dynamics of both teams in terms of how they stack up.
And finally, Ed, didn't you play against Steve Harmison in the 2004 Champions Trophy? I'm going to ask Harmy to for his memories of a 19-year-old Ed Rainsford. But what did a 19-year-old Ed Rainsford, and you had quite a lot to say for yourself as a 19-year-old fast bowler. What are your memories of playing against Steve Harmison in England in that tournament?
It was a funny one because it was the Champions Trophy, and you had a reserve day the next day. So halfway through the ODI, it rained while England were batting, and we batted the next day. Remember, we lost early wickets, and Elton Chigumbura was out there batting, and he seemed to be having the time of his life. And I walked out there, and he just says to me, "Well, it's fast. Just watch the ball." So I said, "Well, you know, it was the old Edgbaston Stadium, so it's a side screen at the back." And I said, "You want me to watch the ball, and you've just told me he's fast." And so it hit me. It actually hit me. And I just ran. I just took a leg by, and I remember getting to the other end, and you sort of hear the ball hit the ground, but you don't see the ball until it hit me, and then I took a single. So he had some gas.
Do you remember hitting 19-year-old Ed Rainsford, Harmy?
I do remember it. Unfortunately, I do apologise for that now. I do remember that. It was a long time ago. It was, if I remember as well, the temperature wasn't that high either, was it? It was a bit cold.
No.
I mean, they sent you to Durham, which wasn't the best place in the world to send you. I think I was devastated because Streaky bowled the first ball ever at Chester Street. I was desperate to be the first person to do that. But I tell you what, the weather at Chester Street was cold that weekend as well. It was freezing.
Yeah. It wasn't a pleasant experience facing England those days. And then Freddie, the other thing about that ODI at Edgbaston was that I was at fine leg, and the crowd was shouting, "Don't worry about the rest. Get everybody else. We've only come to see Freddie."
Yeah, well, we'll think about the Test match at Trent Bridge. It's going to be a massive occasion for Zimbabwe. I think they've worked extremely hard. They've gradually been improving over recent years, and that Test win, I mean, they're under a bit of pressure as we speak now in the second Test, but that was a famous victory, first in 4 years.
I will say this, man, this Test match is massive for Zimbabwe. It's massive, not just from a cricketing perspective. I've been speaking to so many people that are getting Airbnbs. People are trucking in to try to get into Trent Bridge. I mean, England and Zimbabwe ODIs or Test matches were always a festive affair. So, you know, it's a privilege for all of these players to come back to England and play a Test match against this England side in England. So the administrators and everybody that's made it possible, I mean, I take my hats off to them, and I'm absolutely excited.
Ed Rainsford, real pleasure. Sorry it's taken so long to get you on the show, but it won't be your last appearance. Thank you.